Hi, I'm Brittany with the State Personnel Board, and today we're excited to have Billy Bullock, one of our team leads in our Classification and Compensation Division. So stay tuned to learn more about classification and compensation. Billy, thanks for being here today. We're going to talk more about classification and compensation. So tell us more about the goal of the Classification and Compensation Division at MSPB.
To make sure that our agencies are fair and equitable as it relates to employees for classification and compensation issues.
Focus. So when you hear people talk about classification or compensation, what is meant by that?
All right. So classification is basically what you do, how you do it, and the necessary tools that you need to be successful in completing those tasks. Compensation is the monetary value that we place on what you actually do.
What governs the way that state employees are classified and compensated?
All right, so we have a policy, the variable compensation plan. It dictates how we apply the rules that the legislature set. So basically, when agencies make recommendations on an employee's compensation or moving them up or down in classification, we look at these set of rules and policies to assure that agencies are working within the framework, the legislative intent.
Okay, so you mentioned the legislature, so tell me more about their role in classification and compensation.
All right, so right now the legislative session is in. During this session, the legislature lays down the rules for the upcoming year, starting July 1st. During this time, they give agencies their appropriation bill. The appropriation bill outlines how many employees or total head count that an agency can have, and of course, their appropriations for those head counts. How much money can they actually spend?
At MSPB, tell me more about how the class comp division is structured here.
All right, great question, great question. Recently, we've made some changes on how we're organized. Each agency is appointed a HR analyst. We used to have a primary analyst and a backup, but now we've moved to a primary analyst and a team concept. So there's a primary analyst and two other backup analysts, and those teams are led by a team lead. So at any given point, the agency has the opportunity to speak to one of four analysts. So this hopefully will assure that we're increasing our timeliness in responding to our agencies.
Let's talk about one of the misconceptions about MSPB and our role in compensation. I know a lot of state employees have heard that MSPB decides who gets raises or who doesn't get raises or who may or may not be denied a certain increase. So can you expand on that and a little more of our role in that process?
All right, our role is to process requests from the agency. MSPB does not dictate how much or when an employee gets compensation increases. Now, the only time that we may get involved with implementing increases are those that come from the legislature, across the board raises that everyone would get. But as far as agency specific requests, that is handled by the agency. That is a big misconception with employees that the State Personnel Board makes those requests or dictates how much or when they get increases, and that's not true.
We just make sure that agencies are following.
We're
the rules.
making sure that the agencies are working within the framework of the legislature, following our policies and procedures. We use the VCP working in conjunction with the appropriation bill to assure that the agencies are following policies.
Okay. Well, you've been here at the Personnel Board for
Whew.
several years.
Several, yeah, I would say.
So tell me, before we go, what is your favorite thing about your job and what you do here?
All right. Well, one of my favorite things about working with the State Personnel Board is that we never have a dull day.
Right.
It's always an opportunity to learn, and I've learned so much about different state agencies that I never had a clue about.
Right.
We learn about what their employees actually do, what it takes for them to do their job successfully, and that's a really good thing.
Well, good.
Information.
Good. Well, thanks for being here, Billy. For more information about classification and compensation, or to view our variable compensation plan that outlines the rules for classification and compensation, visit us on our website at mspb.ms.gov.